All right, so we just listened to the new album from Underoath, The Place After This One. So now we're going to go through some different sections on the album. We're going to talk about the general feel, production, flow, track highlights, weak spots, and then give you our final grade with my co-host Jordan over here. So first up is the general feel of this album. I thought this was actually pretty fun. Was definitely not expecting it. It was very high energy, lots of unexpected electronics. I mean, they've always had electronics, but just like very upfront electronics. And like, I mean, there were parts of songs that were just complete like different types of like EDM, like breakchord shit that led into other parts of the songs, and it was just really kept you on your toes, kept it very interesting. Again, especially because their last album I think was more of like a very mid-tempo drony kind of gazy type album. So this one was a bit of a change of pace, and I mean that's kind of one of Underoath's strengths is they've always had like different albums. All their albums are completely different than the last one. So props to them on that. And I've never even really been a massive like Underoath fan. I like specific songs, and I mean that's kind of about it. So to keep me entertained this whole time, I thought that was really nice. I thought this, like I said, it was really fun, surprisingly heavy. Also, there's lots of heavy parts on here, lots of breakdowns, while kind of still keeping it still kind of pushed itself into like modern metalcore territory, but was really grounded by that heaviness. And that's a thing I can really appreciate. So I think they did modern. I think basically this is modern metalcore done the right way, and they're kind of showing everybody what's up. So Jordan, what did you think on the general feel of this?
I thought overall it was very broad in spectrum, like throughout each song. I think it still kind of like keeps its identity and like all its influences in check. And I feel like other than a lot of other modern metalcore bands, they really incorporate their sound and all their like influences within the music kind of perfectly. Like the blend of all the different genres and all the different kind of like emotions that they have through the song are all very like I don't know, they feel very like cohesive even though like a lot of the songs do have like their own identity to them. So I think that's really cool. Like you said, it's very high energy, especially at the beginning of the album. Like right away, they just start you off with like, a lot of like really high tempo stuff and they don't really let up at all through the album until like kind of towards the end of the album when they kind of start slowing things down, but it's not even that much. So I think that it really feels like it goes through kind of like a little bit of a story, even though the songs aren't connected or anything. It has like that really nice put together feeling.
All right. So well, on that, we'll jump into the flow because that's on our list of things. So yeah, the flow here was I'll say it especially because of the fact that they had a visualizer for the entire album. Really helps. I think that's one of my favorite things that bands do. It's not very common. Every band ever should do it. Even though I know it costs money. Just try to do something, even if it's just lyrics. But they had a whole visualizer. Some of the songs were just kind of, kind of a little repeated imagery. And some of them were like more actual music videos. But either way, like they put it all in together in one video on YouTube, and it makes it flow like it gives you kind of more of a visual feeling of the album. And so it makes it make even more sense than if you're just like listening to it. Bonus points on that. And also with the flow, I think the last song was pretty good song. It was a little more of a lull, but not in a bad sense. Again, the album was pretty high energy, so I kind of appreciate them for giving it kind of like a soft. It was kind of like a little soft landing, kind of with the imagery and everything. It was kind of like a peaceful kind of thing. So no complaints there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the album flow is really tightly, kind of like put together, like I was saying at the beginning there, with like the story, the kind of like generally kind of put together story, but under like the same umbrella. So yeah, and I think what you were saying about like the last song being kind of like a soft landing, it kind of goes with like the title of the album, the place after this one. It's kind of like heaven, hell kind of like, imagery, even though they're not Christian anymore or whatever. But yeah, it kind of has that feeling, at the beginning of the album, you have that really high energy, very heavy, very angry. And then at the very end, on the last song, which is called Outsiders or Outsider, very much has that kind of feeling, like you've kind of passed on, to the other side and you've made your peace. And it definitely kind of has that feeling throughout the album. It feels very, it feels very angry, but not like angry in like a fuck you, like fuck this way. Like there's like one song
Yeah.
where like
They
the
kind of
hook
literally
is
say it.
he says, "Yeah, fuck you, I'm enough," but, like, it kinda goes with the story and, like, the song very much feels like it belongs there, and it's not just kind of, like, thrown in there to be angry. I feel like a lot of these songs with, like, the tone of, like, the guitars and, like, a lot of that electronics and stuff like that, like, being so loud, like, I feel like it kinda gives that, like, desperate kind of feeling and emotion to it, you know? Whenever you do get towards the end of the album, it really kinda needs that little bit of a soft landing to, kinda wrap it up because, like you said, throughout the whole album, it's pretty high energy and pretty, pretty up there, so it really definitely, did well with that, last song, Outsider there.
All right. On to production. Production was very solid. Again, kind of touching on what I already said. The electronics in here are like a massive part. They're really well done. There's like some straight up like a techno like breakcore type song on Teeth. The first like 2 minutes of it is like a poppy breakcore EDM track, and then it comes in with like this the so I think the production quality of the electronics was on point. I think the drums were pretty much a good highlight here. Honestly, even the guitar, all of it was good. Like the guitar was so heavy, but like not in a modern metalcore muddy, constant sludge sound. It was very like crisp while still being like very, very low tuning, which I really liked. Very crunchy, almost like kind of southern, which Underoath has always kind of had a little bit of twang to him. Reminds me of like He Is Legend. So yeah, I
Florida.
honestly, yeah, that Florida, that's right. So yeah, production on point for me. Jordan's more technically savvy than me. So what did you think of production?
Oh, yeah, I thought the production on this was really good. It's almost kind of like the production on the Spirit Box album is very raw, but at the same time, it's very controlled. Like the bass is very, very nice and compressed. Like there's not too many times where it goes like too flubby or like there's not enough low end. Like throughout pretty much the whole album, like there's a really nice layer of like sub bass through it and it's not just the like electronic like sub bass but like also the bass guitar is like really loud in the mix which I think but it's not like a super like like treble heavy bass to where you can like really hear the notes. It's more of like a bass that you can kind of like feel, which I think is really cool, especially with those guitars because the guitars and the bass are tuned so low. Those guitars, they kind of sit on top of the bass as they should, even though they are so low. And you have kind of like where they kind of blend together, and it kind of feels like one instrument and not like kind of separately, which I think is cool. The bass tone is gonna have like that really like low sub bass throughout and not too much of like the high end to where you can hear it. I feel like if you can have it kind of glue with those guitars and have it, edited very tightly to where it feels like one instrument, it kind of like fulfills that kind of like role. Drums were like really nice and high in the mix. The snare was just like right there. It felt like right there in the middle of the mix is perfect. Like right there was a little bit of like like a little bit of like a kind of like not a pop to it, but it was kind of mellow without it being like inaudible. It's not really like a piccolo snare or anything, but it's not like a whenever they turn the snare wires off to where it's like kind of like a little hand drum sound. It's like the nice kind of like in the middle sound. But they raise it up in the mix so you can hear it a lot better. Cymbals, I didn't really hear the cymbals too much, but they were kind of there. I feel like they just kind of like had a little bit of that top end sizzle. Not a lot of like articulation in a lot of parts, but you could still hear it. And it still kind of kept that, it kept the time and kept the feeling. Especially because on this, there's a lot of times where, like, the drums aren't really playing like, just like simple kind of crash, just playing on the cymbals. There's a lot of times where he's kind of like it's almost like he kind of like drum solos over the whole album. Like there's just like especially in those like parts where it's just kind of like Spencer doing his thing and kind of like just the guitars kind of going and Aaron's kind of got the beat going, but he's doing a lot of things where it's not like there to be there. It's there to kind of like fill out the sound and like the overall everything else. And so overall I think the production is pretty good. I didn't really have any complaints.
Track highlights. So for me, I've got Generation No Surrender, first track, because it starts in immediately heavy. The song is like extremely aggressive. It's mostly heavy vocals. I don't even know if there was any like clean vocals on that one. I can't remember, but uh it was just a very heavy track to kind of like again catch you off guard, just like right to jump right into it. There's two breakdowns in that song. They really showcase the heavy guitar tone on there as well. Just extremely heavy. Let's see, I got Loss was another good one. That one was it was a very poppy style song, very kind of upbeat, but again that guitar came in with that really nasty tone, and it was like just like little snippets of it. It was just like they would bring in this like little riff for like just a couple seconds that just kind of gives you like that stank face, but it was like out of nowhere. So it was just like really really kind of cool, and again kind of grounding it in that, hey, we're metalcore, that modern metalcore bands don't do. They've completely like either phase out the guitar completely or they sludge it down so much that it's just like a fucking low end bass and like that's it. And it's just like an afterthought. But here, like that guitar just comes in and it's just like, oh, like it still keeps you on that heavy edge. And then Teeth, again, that was one I just talked about with that like breakcore house like intro. I'm not even intro. I mean, it was like 2 minutes of the song was that, and then it got heavy at the end. So those were like three super super strong tracks for me. Jordan, what did you have?
I had the first song, Generation No Surrender. That one was really nasty, very hype. Um, Especially going with like the video. You got the people in the pit during the
Mm,
breakdown. I think that was the one that had like he had like a 15-second scream or something during the
that was
breakdown.
that
Like it was
was that. Yes, that I forgot that too.
yeah. Yeah, he was going off on that song, and then I had Survivor's Guilt. I really liked the chorus on that one. That one, it was kind of like a little bit of a weird duality to where, like, the beginning, it seemed like it was kind of gonna be like a softer song, but it would kind of like it was kind of like backwards from like modern metalcore to where like it started out soft, and then it got heavy, and then it kind of like kind of switch back and forth between there. So I think that one was kind of cool. And then I had Teeth as well. Teeth, that one was the breakcore one. Um, Vultures, that one had like a very weird, like kind of like off-putting like electronics with the guitars. Like the electronics felt kind of like a little bit like bright and poppy, and then
Mhm.
like the guitars were like really low and like disgusting sounding. So I think that one was really cool. That one had a Mastodon guy, Troy Sanders, on it. I think kind of towards the end of the song there was kind of like it wasn't really a breakdown. It was kind of more of like a just kind of like a normal bridge with him singing over it. I didn't really notice who it was at first. I definitely knew it wasn't Spencer or Aaron because it was like a really kind of like low kind of baritone singing. Um, but that one was kind of more like sludgy also, and it had that very weird kind of like tone to it. So I think that kind of fit because Mastodon has a lot of that like really sludgy but like weird, also kind of like high, kind of like I don't know, kind of like weird mix between the parts. And then the last song, Outsider, I thought that one was a really good album closer. That one gave me a lot of vibes of like the final album on Define the Great Line. I think it's To Whom It May Concern. Um, it's a little bit of a softer song. Not as long as that song. This one was felt a little short, but after all the high energy throughout the rest of the album, I think uh, ha- even though it was 4 minutes, definitely had a little bit of a softer feeling, especially compared to everything else. So, definitely wrapped up the album pretty well.
All right. Weak spots. Honestly, I didn't really have many. I had one. I mean, there was probably a couple songs that I've forgotten about that kind of just were like, fine. The only like actual weak spot for me was Devil, which was an okay track, but after I think it had like three choruses, maybe like even three and a half. And it was just like at the end of it, I was like, okay. I even like checked the time. I was like, it's okay, it's 7 minutes in, which was like including the first song, but it just felt like it was just a little long on that one. I mean, other than that, I mean, there really wasn't any downsides for me. Did you have any low points?
Yeah, the same song. It was like a whole minute, over a minute longer than the first one, and it was a little slower. So, it definitely brought down the energy a little bit. But, with the whole structure of the album, I feel like they kind of went back and forth between the songs. This one would be very high energy, even though they all are very kind of high energy and all kind of were cohesive in that way. I feel like even within those, there was a little bit of like a little switch off to where like some of them were a little bit more modern metalcore, where maybe the next one would be like a heavy one, and then the next song after that would be a little bit more like experimental or something. I definitely kind of saw what they did there.
What would you rate the album?
I mean, really, there was only that one song that kind of a little bit of a lull, but it still wasn't even a bad song. It was with those guitars being so, like, loud in the mix, like, it keeps everything interesting, especially through compared to a lot of other modern bands, so I definitely can't say that one was a bad one. So I think I'm gonna give this one a 10. This one was really good. Yeah. Even, like, within, like, the past couple Underoath albums, I think this is my favorite out of all of them. The last one was very kind of like very Underoath, but it was more of like the slow, kind of like sludgy side of Underoath. But then this one was very high energy, very good mix. Guitars were just nasty. That was my favorite part. Also, Spencer was going off on this album. I feel like he had a lot of range, and like just that was really good. So I think I'm gonna give him a 10. It's not like a S plus or anything, but I'm gonna give it like a nice, just good A. It's a very good A.
Yeah. So for me, I'm really close to so more of a personal feeling. It's more of like an eight. On like how much I would like go back to it and everything. But I think putting in more of like the objectiveness of it and everything they've done, I think I'm gonna give it a nine, to be honest, because like I said, it's got like the modern metalcore kind of octane feeling of it, but they do it in such a more proper way than anyone else does currently, with the just really great production and energy and the guitars. The energy and guitars, those are like two of the main things that all modern more metalcore bands forget. It's either very mid-tempo or, it just they drown out the guitars. It's something. And this band just has both. And I'm not even, like I said, I wouldn't consider myself an Underoath fan. Dangerous Business Walking Out Your Front Door is one of my favorite songs of all time. And that's about it. Like that, I don't really listen to Underoath like that. But although when we took a road trip, when we listened to Define the Great Line, I think I remember liking that a lot, by the way. And then other than that, like that's it. So I think even objectively, like just, I think they deserve it. And the visualizer, props to them on the visualizer as well.
Oh,
So
yeah, that was great.
yeah, 9 out of 10, I for sure. I think they deserve it. This was really, really fun and kept me highly engaged the whole time, except for that one song. But whatever, who cares? So yeah, 9 out of 10 for me, 10 out of 10 for Jordan. I think Underoath did a great job here. So good job to Underoath. Uh, Make sure you let us
Awesome.
know in the comments what y'all's thoughts are on this album and your score. And don't forget to come by our live streams that we do every Friday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks.